Hello there, Philly Boy London here. It's been a very long time YouTube. I'm not going to go into too much detail to why I've not been making videos, but I've been living in China for the last couple of years, so been kind of busy with stuff. Blah blah fucking blah. Basically, I want to kind of reignite my YouTube kind of career a little bit. Admittedly, originally I made lots of videos about Islam, whereas today I'm still, of course, very concerned about Islamism in Europe, across the world. But I think one of the reasons why I made my videos in the past was because I felt that people couldn't see what I could see, you know? Maybe I had an elevated sense of self-esteem because of that, but a large part of me was very frustrated how if ever I brought up any of the topics I would make in my videos to my peers or my family, I would usually get very snide remarks like, "Oh, that's a bit racist," or "That's a bit Islamophobic." Whereas today, I think by and large, the kind of things I was saying 2 or 3 years ago, most people kind of would agree with me now. In fact, recently David Cameron made a big speech about Islamism. So partially, I don't really feel the need to make videos about Islam anymore. Excuse me, I have tonsillitis at the moment actually, which is why I'm very bored and trying to do some videos. But for me, there is a new group of people who I find not quite as dangerous as Islamists. They don't go around killing people. They don't try and create caliphates. But a new group of people who I think are very, very worrying, and that would be the kind of new breed of social justice warriors or Tumblrites, or I'm not even going to call them feminists because they're not feminists, but these faux feminists who don't really want equality, they want special treatment. But I'm not going to go too much into that, but I'm going to just quickly talk about why I think these people are extremely worrying. One of the reasons why I made videos about Islam is because I felt frustrated as a left-winger, and I would still call myself a left-winger. I felt very frustrated how people on my side of the party would appease Islamism or violence done in the name of Islam. And I think that these people, these social justice warriors, these Tumblrites, are those types of people. And over the last year or two, I've really noticed just so often you see something happening. Someone says the wrong thing, someone says something a little bit politically incorrect, and their career is over and done with. And I've been spending a lot of time on Tumblr reading these people's thoughts, these people's ideas. And I have to say, and don't get me wrong, I do follow some of the worst people, some of the most extreme people on that website. But I have to say, I have not encountered such a nasty, hateful, intolerant bunch of people in a long, long time. And the sad thing for me, just like as I had a problem with Islam before, these people will be coddled and respected because they kind of go under the guise of being like kind of nice and cute and progressive. So let's listen to them. Whereas ultimately, some of these people are very, very dangerous. And one of the things that would always confuse me about the left's love affair with Islam is that the two ideologies are basically polar opposites. You know, Islam is, or hardcore fundamentalist Islam is one of the most conservative ideologies in the world, yet the tolerant left seem to stick up for it, and I find that very bizarre, and that's something I see as well on the pages of Tumblr and coming out of the mouths of these social justice warriors, is that they claim to be tolerant and diverse and caring and inclusive, yet really ultimately they are the most intolerant people you will ever meet. They are the new fascists, they really are. If you say something that they don't approve on, they will very kindly educate you. They will say that. They'll say stuff like, we're just trying to educate you. You could have just said sorry and just retracted what you said. And then when you don't do that, they get all pissed off, and then sometimes they try and make you lose your job or blah blah blah, which is quite evil. Very quick side note, there's a TV show, was it Man vs Food? I think this guy lost like 5 stone or something, went on Twitter saying, "I'm so glad I lost 5 stone," and then he said something which is apparently fat phobic, something I'll probably talk about in the future in this channel, and he basically told this person to fuck off. He ended up losing his job because he said something apparently insensitive. Now, in the mind of your average Tumblrite, somebody saying something insensitive that might hurt a delicate flower's feelings, that is far worse than a man losing his livelihood. And I think I've said this before, that if anyone is intolerant nowadays, it is actually people on the far left. If you go to Tumblr, These are the most intolerant people in the world. You could just say anything, and you will piss them off, and they'll probably call on you to be silenced or to lose your job, or if you're a company, to lose your advertisement. I've seen it over and over again over the last few years. Somebody expresses an unpopular opinion, and in spite of the spirit of freedom of expression, these people get their asses handed to them. And I find that just so sad that young people, and of course it's not just young people, but mainly on these websites, I find it so sad that young people can be so kind of like boring, to put it blunt, where they want just such a kind of regimented, strict view of the world, where only things are tolerated unless they say so. And again, of course, that's incredibly ironic. You know, if you're a liberal, surely you should be the most open-minded of all people. You should encourage people to think their own ways. But you see quite the opposite on the pages of Tumblr and in these social justice warriors. And I think that what they're doing is really kind of harming the way society works. You know, there's not as much freedom. You know, and I know for whatever reason, freedom seems to be like the enemy of a lot of people. You know, freedom, it has like connotations of like, you know, drunk rednecks in America or something. But I just really get this impression that a lot of people on the far left just actually hate diversity, and they only really like stuff if for whatever reason it fits their view of the world. And that's absolutely tragic, especially as someone who is a left-winger myself. A very common topic of my old videos was my frustration as a left-winger in the reaction to Islam by fellow left-wingers, the way in which left-wingers, quite typically, it has to be said, victimhood is a kind of part of their mentality, as in, you know, people are victims, the government comes and help them. Now, I am a leftist because I think that people are victims and that people do need the government to help them. But there comes a time where you actually have to accept some responsibility for your own fate. And what I saw was leftists basically excusing the barbarianism from terrorists under the guise of foreign policy. Now, of course, foreign policy, first to put my hands up, the war in Iraq was an absolute disaster. We have done some pretty bad things in our history, but if you look closely, every single country and culture or religion has done the same. I'm not sure I've ever really heard a Muslim, for example, hold their hands up and talk about the Ottoman Empire, who conquered most of Europe, you know, Northern Africa, blah blah blah. The point I'm trying to make is that I feel that a lot of people on the left who are giving left wing, the ideology of the left wing, a bad name, and I find that very, very sad. And it's always the extremists who are the loudest, and these are the ones that get heard. I'm very concerned about the kind of attitude a lot of these people, young people, these young social justice warriors have towards the world, because I think it's quite a nasty, poisonous one, where basically nobody is at fault for their own outcome in life. Just blame everybody else. And I never actually, almost very rarely, talked about race on my channel. I hate talking about race. I'd like to say I'm colorblind, even though apparently that's a bad thing if you ever read Tumblr. I don't like talking about race because it's just a very dangerous topic. But basically the whole idea of Tumblr is that everybody white, especially if you're a man or you're cis male, which basically means you have your chosen gender at birth, whatever, if you are one of those people, you're evil, and if you're a person of color, you are a victim, which I think is just racist to white people and people of color. Just to patronize people of color and to accuse white people of you know, horrible things, it's just nasty. But of course, if you ever go on Tumblr, you will find out that you cannot be racist towards white people. You cannot be sexist towards men. Of course, if you're a white man, you are no question going to have an easier life than probably everybody else. But it doesn't mean all white men have an easy life and all people who are not white men have a hard life. For example, you know, Tumblr would probably kick my ass for saying this, but last time I checked, the President of America is a black guy. And last time I checked, there's plenty of poor white men. So the point I'm trying to make about Tumblr is, in their very strange, in my opinion, very racist, intolerant view of the world, yet again we have another group of people who are destroying the good name of left-wing activism. And all that does, ironically, is turn people away from left-wing politics and give votes towards right-wingers, which is precisely what's happening in England right now. I am personally stunned the Tories, the Conservatives, managed to win the last election with an overall majority, and I put that down to none other than the kind of toxic politics on the left with these kind of insane young social justice warriors. So basically, to sum up, I quite want to reignite my YouTube career, and I'm going to give you guys some more interesting examples of exactly what I'm talking about. I'll try and come up with an interesting video about cultural appropriation, because this is the most interesting one I've been reading about recently. How, for example, if a white person raps, that's like stealing black people's culture, which is just kind of sad that people would even think such a thing. I think it's a wonderful thing that people from different races and cultures share and enjoy each other's cultures. Isn't that the whole idea of multiculturalism and a diverse society? And surely saying if somebody of one race cannot use something of someone of one race cannot use a product of someone who is of another race, surely that is the definition of segregation. But in the crazy world of Tumblr, that's the way things are. So it's not all black and white. Sometimes the people on the very far left have some good points, but ultimately, point of the video is there's some fucked up shit on the far left, and I'm going to try and make some more videos about it. Anyway, I hope you guys are good. Yeah, please keep watching my videos and all that kind of stuff, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace.